Hi everyone, so today I'm going to talk a little bit about certification and evaluation systems. So the first certification that I'm sure most of you are familiar with is these days it's called the NIC, which is the National Interpreting Certification, offered through the Registry of Interpreters for the Deaf. If you want to find out more about it, you go to www.rid.org, and that is probably the most common and general certification through the United States. Most of the 50 states will accept the certification if you need to be certified in any of those states, and that's the only certification that's that national that's still around. So some of you might remember the National Association of the Deaf certification, so the NAD certification. That one, there are people who still have that certification today, but you're not able to take that test. You're going to be looking at the NIC for a sort of a certification that will go with you from state to state to state to most states. You might also remember the ACCI certification, which was the American Consortium of Certified Interpreters. That was the test that followed the NAD certification. And there are people with that certification as well, but again, you're not able to take that. The certification that you can take is the NIC through RID's organization. Now, some people will also consider local certifications as being certified, or local quality assurance tests. So some states, but not all, have a quality assurance evaluation that is good in that particular state. So some people will call those certifications or local certifications. That's fine. I'm not here to tell you what is certified and what is not, because you and your state can make that determination, and on what is certified and what is not certified, or what is pre-certified. That's all up to wherever it is that you are, and if you have laws in your state, what those laws are. And a couple of other evaluation systems are the EIPA evaluation. EIPA is the Educational Interpreter Performance Assessment, and for some people they'll actually call that certified, and it is educationally focused. You can become a certified member of RID if you take and pass the EIPA's performance test with a 4.0 or better, and EIPA's knowledge test. So you can be a certified member of RID if you want, but you don't have to. Or in some states don't require the knowledge test of the EIPA to be considered quote-unquote certified or qualified to work in an educational system. Also, if you look on their website, so EIPA's website is at classroominterpreting.org. That's classroominterpreting.org. If you look on their website, you'll see an EIPA link, and it'll tell you all about their tests, both their performance test and their knowledge test. And it's an assessment of your interpreting skills, and it's focused on educational interpreting. And in some states, you only need a 3.0 to be considered qualified. In other states, you need a 3.5. And in other states, such as California, you need a 4.0 to be considered qualified to work in an educational environment. And in California, it's in the kindergarten through 12th grade educational environment where that certification is a requirement, or that evaluation is a requirement. Also, there's another test that's called the ESSE test, which is the Educational Sign Skill Evaluation. And that evaluation is offered through the SEECenter.org. That's SEECenter.org, their website. Now, even though this organization has some level of support for C-signing in an educational setting, they don't only evaluate you as a C-signer, they'll actually evaluate you as an ASL signer, or if you use PSE with ASL features. That's all fine, and they're quite fluent in all of those, so don't misunderstand that this organization is all only about C-sign. They tend to be a proponent of C-sign in educational settings because their philosophy is you need to have some English-based signing, especially things like suffixes and such, to help deaf kids learn how to recognize signs that can attach to English to help them read better. So again, I'm not going to discuss philosophy. That just happens to be a evaluation system that some states will take and accept. So for example, in California, they're one of them that you can, if you pass the ESSE evaluation at a 4.0 or better on both portions of the evaluation, the expressive and the receptive side, then you could work in the K-12 environment. So these certifications and evaluations, some people think of them as the bar exam, and so they mentally psych themselves out that they're really, really hard and that you're never going to pass them. And what you really need to do is work on your personal thought process about that approach, because even, let's say even if they were the bar exam, even if NIC was the bar exam, the thing about the evaluation systems is if you look at what they're looking for on your performance and your knowledge, it's stuff that relates to your job. So over time in videos that will be coming up in the future, I'm actually going to look at these various certifications and evaluation systems, and we'll talk about the criteria that are involved in each system, and maybe even break some of them down into individual pieces so that you can start to work on enhancing those skills. Because although some people will say don't prep for the test, in the fact of don't try to learn the skills just for the test, I agree, but if you'll know what the tests are asking you to demonstrate, that's just the skill set that you should have in your everyday interpreting. So they're not asking for wild and crazy things that are not part of what your daily skill set should be. They just happen to be looking at it in a very analytical way and breaking it down to its very source. And for some people that's a little scary. But in reality, if you can demonstrate those skills well on a test, you then will probably even do better in real life of showing that you have those skill sets, because all they're asking for, I promise, all they're asking for is things that you should be able to do in your daily interpretations. So don't psych yourself up and make yourself think like these tests are insurmountable. In all honesty, you can achieve them, because if you're out interpreting, if you're interpreting in an educational setting, if you're interpreting in VRSs and VRIs, if you're interpreting in regular random freelance settings, which is all over the place, even when you're doing things like performance interpreting for shows, even if it's religious interpreting in your own religious service, if it's whatever church or religious background that you have wherever you might interpret, then those skills that are within these certification tests are what you should have in all of those interpretations. So my philosophy is that if you'll know what they expect of you and you learn it and you focus on making those a part of your skill set and really incorporating them and putting them here and putting them here and putting them here and putting them here and putting them here, if you'll incorporate that to become a part of you, then you won't have any problem with taking these certifications or evaluations, because they'll be a daily part of what you do as an interpreter. So that's just a sort of a quick down and dirty of don't be afraid of the certification tests and or the evaluation systems. And then over time, I'm going to start to look at different evaluation systems, and we'll break them down and we'll help it so that our skill sets will enhance, and we'll all be better interpreters for knowing what's on their tests and for training to incorporate those skills into our skill set so that we can be the best interpreters that we can possibly be, because our goal is to go out and provide the service that deaf people expect of us. And so the certification tests help us understand what skill sets we need to have. All right? So stay positive, and we'll talk about certifications and evaluations in our future, and we'll go forth from here. All right? Take care.